I'm Morgan from Pack Hacker, and in this video we're taking a look at the Chrome Industries Sabin 3-liter sling, which I've been testing for 2 weeks. If you find this video helpful, hit subscribe so that we can continue making content that helps you travel smarter. Let's jump in. So the external materials are made from the 400D recycled crinkle nylon, and then the interior lining is a 150D recycled polyester liner. All of the zippers are YKK with these nice zipper pulls. They're pretty easy to use, super smooth, no issues at all. The materials themselves are weather resistant, but the bag itself isn't technically. And so basically I think that just kind of means if you get caught out in the rain, which I got the opportunity to test, the materials will hold up and they won't let water through, but this isn't a bag that I would trust to go like out in a storm with, if that makes sense. It'll protect your content or protect the contents fairly well in like very light instances of rain, but I would be a little bit concerned in like a heavier downpour or in prolonged exposure to inclement weather. So just something to keep in mind. The bag has no grab handles on the top. The only method of carry really is either by holding it kind of like a clutch or by sling with the shoulder strap. And then there are no external attachment points anywhere. And so I found that this strap around the sides, you might be able to get away with like a larger carabiner, like a hero clip, but that's probably it. Then as for branding, there's just a small logo here on the bottom right hand corner, a little tab with the full Chrome logo, and then you can kind of see it here on the plastic buckle as well where it says Chrome. So aside from that, I did get caught out in the rain with this, and it was kind of like light to medium downpour. I had my everyday essentials like my phone, my wallet, keys, some gum, and hand sanitizer is typically what I always carry. And so I did have to walk 4 or 5 blocks in the rain, which was not exactly fun. But by the time I got back to my apartment, I was completely soaked and the bag was wet, but everything inside of it was still dry, which I was very pleasantly surprised by. And so it definitely can protect your gear from the weather in very light instances. As for the shoulder straps, the strap is made from like a seatbelt, very smooth type of nylon material. It's very easy. Sliding it from front to back or vice versa was very easy. It never got caught and it was always pretty smooth. And then the strap is non-removable. It is like permanently attached, and this buckle is attached to one specific side, which is not like a huge deal, but something to keep in mind depending on how you like to wear your slings. I found that it took just like a very small adjustment period getting used to making sure that I had the buckle in front. That way if I wanted to use it, I could. I very rarely ever use the buckle though, but it is just like a plastic buckle that works pretty easily. No issues there. So aside from that, the strap length itself is a little short, and so I can show you it sits higher up on the body than what I'm typically used to, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I found that as I was getting used to the placement and the orientation of the bag, that I kind of started to prefer it being higher up instead of being lower, like towards my waist. Having it higher up just felt a little bit more secure. So this is what it looks like on. As you can see, it sits a little bit higher up, like a little bit closer to the body. This probably wasn't the best shirt to wear with this color sling, but even at its like longest length, it's still somewhat higher up, which, like I said, I started to get used to, and it can compact fairly nicely. So when it's not full, it still sits more so like flush up against the body, which is always nice as well. And so, this is like the buckle that I mentioned. I usually wear it on the other way, basically. And so it just took a few times to get used to this specific orientation, having it on this side instead of this side, but that's not like a huge deal. The buckle still works. So taking a look at some of the secondary compartments, on the front, you'll notice a black Hypalon tab right here, which is covering the front pocket, which definitely helps kind of ensure that water just brushes past it and doesn't even get towards the opening. And so inside, you can see there's just like a gray interior lining. Fun fact, the interior lining is designed to be an accent to the exterior color. So with this specific version, it's got like this gray lining, which works well with the gray pull tabs and then the additional black accents. And then on some of the other colors, they have a little bit more of like a pattern to them or a different color lining to match the zipper pulls and the aesthetics with each specific colorway, which I thought was pretty cool. Getting back to this pocket, inside I just have a pair of keys. The pocket takes up about that much. So from this little cutout right here, it's not the biggest pocket and it doesn't have a whole lot of space to it, but it's still nice for smaller things. I would put gum, hand sanitizer, tissues, sometimes keys in here without any issue. On the back, it is kind of somewhat hidden, but there is a rear pocket. I wouldn't say hidden, maybe concealed is a better word. And so the zipper is sitting on top right here. And this one actually has like a decent amount of like space to it. So inside I just have a little wallet. I found myself putting like a wallet here or sometimes my phone just for like quick access, and then I would leave this unzipped so I can get in and out without having to undo it. I found that worked really, really well. This pocket works, I think, best for flatter items, maybe like a passport or wallet, cash. I would put receipts in here too, just because it sits up against the body, and so flatter items kind of ensure that nothing bulges or like pokes you in the back. Taking a look at the main compartment, which has dual zippers, so you can really, I like dual zippers just because depending on which side you prefer to wear it on, you can keep the zippers stashed on one side, or if you're like me and switch regularly, I keep them almost in the middle just for easy access and I don't have to think about it as much. The zippers are nice in that they come like a decent amount down, so it really allows you to get like a nice overview of everything inside. And then inside there are two smaller mesh pockets with a little bit of elasticity on one side, and then on the opposite side is a larger one. And so this larger one fits an iPhone Pro Max fairly easily. It is like a little snug, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. And then on the up, the smaller ones fits like standard power bank and cable. And then the rest basically just functions as like a nice, and a little towel. The rest functions as like a dumping site basically, with just like a nice amount of capacity that you can either use or when not in use, stays fairly flat, so it stays out of the way. One thing that I really did like about these pockets though, that I wanted to mention was the design of them. I think they're called floating pockets. And so instead of taking space at the bottom of the bag, they kind of sit up against the wall. So it allows you to store items without eating up into the main capacity's storage. And so I found that this worked really, really well. I could put bulkier items in the main compartment and then store like essentials, things that like I would need a little bit faster, like keys, wallet, phone, etc., in these pockets, and they would stay in these pockets and stay secure, so that I never had to worry about them falling out or rumbling around in the bag. So that was like a nice feature. And then the last thing I will note is there's no like soft or plush lining anywhere in any of the pockets on this bag. So I found myself kind of being a little hesitant to put items like a Nintendo Switch or sunglasses in here, just because the material isn't rough, but it's not very protective. And especially like with an item like glasses, I would be concerned that in a compartment like this, they would jostle around and get scratched or potentially broken. So just something to keep in mind there. So there you have it, the Chrome Industries Sabin 3-liter sling. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel. We'll see you in the next video.